So as we're walking here, giving you a tour of the construction site here in front of Fuller Farm, I want to take the chance to talk about eminent domain. So pretty much the government has the right, when it's in the use of the public, to take private land. There's not a whole lot you can do. They can use that for widening roads, for building freeways. There's even been precedent where they have taken land and then sold it to private companies to develop and made money. And unfortunately there has been precedent for that where it was upheld in court. So that's pretty much what eminent domain is. The government has the right to do that in America. They can take your land and use it for something else if needed. However, they are required to give you just compensation when they do take your land. In order to decide what that just compensation amount is, they have to pay an appraiser to go and look at similar properties and come up with a value and then give you an offer. You can also get a second appraisal, and depending on the state or where you live, they may or may not pay for this appraisal or pay for a part of a second appraisal. They have to pay for the first appraisal, obviously, but if you want a second opinion, again, depending where you live, you may or may not be able to have that covered by the government. Once they have the market value, they'll come back to you and give you an offer on the property. You can obviously try to go to court or negotiate or reject. Ultimately, though, they are going to get the land. It's just a matter of time and working through the courts if you go that route. But they can still start their construction project whether you've settled with them or not. Really, those are your options. You can accept their offer, you can aim for more money, or you can go to court and fight it and have a judge settle and decide on the amount. Now, in theory, you can stop the eminent domain process from happening if you can actually prove that the project is not in the public's best interest, or maybe that there's an alternative. That's very few and far between. This video, obviously, like it says in the beginning, this is not any legal advice. I'm just telling you the path that we took and that we followed and what happened to us. Most folks understand that the government is required to compensate you in some manner if they do execute eminent domain and take your property for the public use. But something I didn't know about is something called highest and best use, which basically means you are entitled to receive compensation based on the highest and best use of your property. For example, our property is zoned as residential agricultural. But as I did research, there's several properties around us that have been bought up by corporations to be developed that were rezoned as commercial and then sold for huge sums of money, talking millions of dollars. So the appraisal obviously came back based on residential land, but if you look at highest and best use near our property, we were able to take those figures and go back to the county as part of the renegotiation process and show that the highest and best use potentially could be commercial. We could get it rezoned and sell to a company for quite a bit of money. I'm very familiar with real estate values in this area, and the appraisal that they came back with was, very accurate for residential land in this area. But again, it did not reflect that highest and best use. I know that a lot of folks in the neighborhood just accepted the offer that the county gave them. Some people did get an attorney, very few, but most people just accepted. We wanted to negotiate based on what we found out about highest and best use, and they accepted our offer, which was 15 times what they originally offered us. So I'm hoping this information helps some folks. If you're dealing with eminent domain, do your research. A lot of places out there suggest you do get an attorney to read over the language. And if you have any questions or concerns and don't know what to do, definitely go that route. I think another thing that may have helped us is during this time I was traveling quite a bit for work and was out of town. So really I was one of the last people to settle, if you will, with the county. They kept on trying to get a hold of me, but I was on the road. So it may or may not help to kind of linger and wait before you settle. I think I was, like I said, last one or second to last to finally settle, and they were ready to get moving and going on. So I showed them my research on highest and best use. They took that to the county to review, and they approved it within a week, and we were off and running. So anyways, let me know if you have any questions on what's happened with us. I know every eminent domain case is different. Sometimes you can fight and win, and most of the times you cannot. But again, this is not legal advice, so if you're in doubt, get with an attorney if this is happening to you, so they can look over the contracts and help you out. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.